It is my pleasure now to introduce our next speaker, Lord Brennan. Lord Brennan is not only a member of the House of Lords, but he has a deep care for the healthcare system, of course, also from the government side. And he's already in 1993, he actually initiated the foundation of a bioethics commission in the UK government. And so he's been following the debate about healthcare very closely. And we are very happy to have you here, Lord Brennan.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a long-time member of the House of Lords, which is our upper parliamentary chamber. We like to make speeches, and we have a saying about each other. Everything has been said on this subject, but not yet by me. It's therefore a great privilege to start the speeches. Es tut mir leid, dass ich kann nicht diese Wörter aus Schweizerdeutsch sprechen. Aber mit meiner armen Deutsch ein herzliches Willkommen. Thomas Heiniger, Minister für Gesundheit, Ernst Stocker, Minister für Ökonomie von Kanton Zurich, Frau Corinna Mauch, Stadtpräsident von Zurich, Ernst Hafen und alle die Gruppe von die ausgezeichnete eidgenössische Technische Hochschule von Zürich und alle die Schweizer Gruppe heute. Enough of my German. Why have you asked me to speak? I suspect it's because I am the living model of the relationship between politics and health. Because in November 2007, during a debate about health reforms and health ethics, without any previous experience of ventricular arrhythmia, I collapsed, just having made a speech in the House of Lords, inside the chamber. Fortunately, the Minister for Health in the debate was a practicing surgeon. He jumped over the benches, gave me the kiss of life. Somebody produced a defibrillator, and after 4 or 5 minutes, I recovered. They call me a parliamentary Lazarus. It was a wonderful occasion for me to come back to life and to realize, being a good Catholic, when I first thought that I must be in heaven, quickly to understand that I wasn't in heaven because I was surrounded by a group of Church of England bishops that we have in the House of Lords praying for my soul. So ever since, when I speak about health and politics, listen. Now, it is a very, very critical fact that decade by decade into this 21st century, populations will increase, life will become longer, health mechanisms will become more sophisticated, and everything will cost so much more. It's a fact of life. There's nothing I could bore you with for the next 10 minutes about British government policy in this regard that's any different to anywhere else. The politics of it drives macro thinking, but the practice of health, in my view, drives micro thinking. If you imagine the world of health as a big globe, to get into it from the outside is very difficult indeed with a new idea. But to create ideas and change from inside, talking to Ernst Hafen about biology and virology and defense and attack mechanisms, I think you can expand change. You do it step by step, not by a 100-meter race. So enough of the politics. Let me give you my view about how politics, political experience, reflects itself in how we deal with health in the years to come. This is a very simplistic view of the health system. The top is where it all comes from, the middle is who's involved, the third line is who are the commentators, the fourth is Parliament, who runs it all, and last is the people. Now, I blocked 3 items in that, but if you look at this picture generally, it's complex. In many countries, it's a mess. It doesn't work. And the 3 things that I blocked are the critical components: the state, the bureaucracy, the civil servants, the machinery of government, which goes on regardless of which political party is in power. The media. The only practical way to educate our nations about health is through the media. Television, whatever it might be. That should never be underestimated by academics, by industry, or politicians. And events. We had a famous Prime Minister called Harold Macmillan in the 60s, who was very sophisticated, and he was asked by a journalist, what is the most important factor in politics, Mr. Prime Minister? To which he replied, events, my dear boy, events. Because you don't know they're coming, you can't control them, and they take over political and national life for a day, a week, a month, whatever it might be. And in our country, maybe in Switzerland and others, the press pick up an event. An old person is left in a hospital bed without proper attention, dies, the family complain, and it hits the press big time. Now those 3 elements, the state, the media, and events, are controlling elements. Not totally controlling, but very important controlling elements. And we have to deal with each. Parliament comes in this description just before the people. Now what does this tell you? It tells you one simple message. In health and politics, you have to market the idea. It has to make sense to people to do what you want them to do. And the big thing they want you to do is to change things for the better. So we all have to understand innovation, which is the key to the future, from inside. And the questions for everyone are simple. What is it you propose to do? Why is it necessary? Is it proportionate? Are you building a mountain to deal with a molehill? Is it cost effective? And most important, when? 2, 3, 5 years? Something quick is what people want. Successes and failures. Keyhole surgery, my pacemaker, hydration. I couldn't believe what's happened in our country and some others, where patients die of dehydration. Can you imagine in a hospital? So an ordinary guy in this country, in industry, not medical, produced a plastic bottle which you latch onto the end of a hospital bed with a tube that the patient can suck water from. Doesn't take a nurse or anybody else, just needs to be filled once in a while. A very simple, easy way of helping to solve a problem. We tried to introduce recently a national record system for patients. that was transferable between doctors and hospitals. A disaster. A disaster. It doesn't matter what the reasons are, it was an honest attempt to achieve something. What's the answer? Don't throw money at health, because it will just absorb it. Put money into things that work. Stem cell research. 15, 20, 30 years. A few years ago it was hyped as the new world of medicine, which it isn't yet, but a lot of money has gone into it. Human genome projects, in my personal layman's view, are a much better prospect in the shorter term. Diabetes. If you go to certain countries in the world, quite apart from your own, one of the major problems in life is type 2 diabetes, leading to cardiac problems and the like, which demands some simple pharmacology. By simple, I don't mean the product, I mean the distribution and utility of it. A major world problem. Cardiac conditions, tremendous results. Remote monitoring, tremendous. Patient can be treated at home. So what's the message? For ordinary people to understand, targeted projects, things they understand. Telling them you spent 5 million, 10 million doesn't mean anything. They want to identify with a result. Effective management in innovation. We create an innovation, the state is in the middle and the users are at the end, and you can see how the system works. I've called the structures governance, by which I don't mean corporate governance, I mean effective structures of management. And it seems to me that what Ernst talked about at the beginning and Minister Heinegger have in mind is to create structures involving each of these three, and perhaps people from the lay community as well, to make sure it's all working managerially. Civil servants cannot manage external institutions. It's not their training, it's not their experience. They produce the policies, they produce the change, but the people inside the structures are the ones who provide the solutions, whether it be a business solution, an academic one, or whatever. So in management, flexible and imaginative structures. Efficient implementation. None of this is worth anything unless you make it work. Funding is not going to come these days unless you have something to sell. And the cluster idea is a great product to sell. It's cross-border, it's cross-discipline, it's economic, and it has much greater benefits than just your own country. But it needs a triple alliance of the academic, the industrial, and the government to produce a personalized healthcare platform. Science and systems. The amount of data that exists in the health system which is not used is vast. What can the IT industry tell us and teach us about using that data more productively, subject to all appropriate safeguards? Science has to start talking business. Systems have to be business-oriented, not at the cost of the patient. People associate business often with cost-cutting and nothing productive as far as the patient is concerned. But think of a shop or a store. The one thing that's drummed into them is look after the customer. In the health service, it should be look after the patient. Equipment is a typo by my secretary, which I didn't check. It should say government and regulation. Medicine and ethics. I have two ladies here dealing with it this afternoon. Is a particular interest of mine. The ultimate questions of medicine and humanity are moral questions. So as soon as we treat them as evidential and economic, we'll finish up at the age of 60 or 70 being given a pill and told as our time has come, take it and go. It is a moral world, not just a convenience world. Patents and global solutions. Today in California, Apple is suing Samsung in a patent battle which affects the world iPad market. The pharmacology business occasionally involves major litigation. We simply haven't, in the 21st century, got the right balance between commercial advantage and community need. And we have to look at that balance again. And we need to use 21st century thinking. Innovation is using the best of yesterday in your mind today, because for tomorrow you've got something really important to achieve. So I've closed the innovative spirit. Not just innovation, re-innovation. There's a book out in the last few months from a couple of American business experts about re-innovation, by which they mean countries like India, China, Latin America, Africa, taking a Western innovation and adapting it to their economic and social circumstances. So instead of producing a Rolls Royce, you produce 100 small items which work well enough. Re-innovation. And we can do it here. It's not just the developing world. We should learn from them. Ideas. Think big, start small, but grow fast. Not too big, not too small, and not too fast, but do it. Ideas move minds, and moved minds change things. So the academic, the industrialist, with all appropriate prudence, should not be afraid of big, small, and fast. And the results. What will politicians and society want? They want quality, utility, and things to be told to them, communication. And last, the toughest of all, politics. Health will remain a major political issue. It affects everyone. We all pay taxes. It's a major part of our communities. Innovation, therefore, has to be exciting to wake up politicians. If you've got a system, make it a super system. That's what a good politician likes. If you've got good innovation and good systems, you'll be able to persuade politicians when they accept the idea that they're smart politicians. I'm making a joke, but it's a joke with a point. You will not get political involvement unless you're selling a damn good product that's going to work for people. That's the new world. The message I'm giving you is progress. Well, as a lawyer, having done a lot of litigation involving health, as a member of the House of Lords, having debated it many times, you'll forgive the hubris of spending 15 minutes to review the future of health in this world, as we should all see it. But some of those messages are worth taking note of. Thank you all very much indeed.